welcome everybody. Welcome to part 5 of 8 of my beginning yoga series, or my yoga foundational series. We've built each class on top of each other, right? Going from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. In this one, we want to use what we've learned, right? Some of the postures we've learned, adding in some new ones, but we're going to focus on opening the hip, right? So the hip joint. And I want you to think of your hip joint as it really is. It's a circle, it's circular. So we need to make sure we get all sides of the hip, rather than a lot of times in a yoga class you might hear we're opening our hips today and it focuses mainly on the back and a little bit to the outside. So think Pigeon Pose, which is what we'll do a little bit later. That's kind of the focus of those hip opening classes. The problem with that is, like I said, it's circular, so we want to make sure we get front, back, side, outside, inside, and just the kind of different rotations through it. It may be helpful if you have a yoga block at home. If you don't have a yoga block at home, a stack of books or a book might work. A water bottle would be great. Just something that you can kind of bring the floor up if you need it, right? So let's get started in Child's Pose, Malasana. And I've offered Child's Pose in previous videos, but I haven't really broken it down, and I haven't really said this is a pose to take, or we're going to start here, or we're going to do this. Reason for it is, for beginners, and especially if you have limited flexibility, Child's Pose, while it's supposed to be an easy pose, or a pose of ease, or it's supposed to be kind of a resting pose, it can be pretty uncomfortable for people. So the biggest thing I want to stress is you want to be as comfortable in this pose as possible. So big toes come together in the back. That's kind of the idea of it. If you need to have your toes a little bit wider, totally fine. And then knees, traditionally or normally it's taught, take your knees wide and then bring your chest down, or arms forward, bring your chest to the floor, forehead to the floor. The problem with it is if you have limited range, right, this may be uncomfortable with the knees wide. If you feel any pinching to the front of your hips, this may, we want to avoid any of that. So no pinching to the front of the hip, so the hip crease here. So what I like to say is take your knees about hip width distance, and then walk your hands forward, rest your ribs on your thighs, forehead to the floor, come into Child's Pose. Right, and just allow your hips to soften towards your heel. If your Child's Pose looks like this is totally fine, but just kind of like let the hips fall towards the heels, right? But if this is not comfortable for you, just come up, sit back on your heels, sit in Hero's Pose, right? But Child's Pose, right, it's just about taking the knees wide enough that you feel comfortable in it, right? If narrow is uncomfortable, take them wider. If wider is uncomfortable, take them a little bit closer together. So just find what works for you. Again, I recommend about hip width distance with my knees, forehead to the floor, and then just take a few breaths here. Start to engage your Ujjayi breath, right? So we inhale through the nose, and then we exhale through the nose. But that exhale is like you're sighing out through your nose, or you're fogging a mirror through your nose. So it sounds a little bit like this. Inhale, and then exhale. Inhale, exhale. And just feel the backs of your hips, maybe the front of your hips, insides of your hips, right? Just start to loosen them up. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then inhale, come up to all fours. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. We'll work a little bit of strength into the back of the hip. So the back of the hip doesn't tend to get very strong in yoga if you're not aware of it, or if you're not targeting it. So in my classes, I target strength in the hips all the time, as well as flexibility. But today, right now, we'll just do a drill or a version of cat-cow that will help us strengthen the back of our hip. So take your right leg back and big toe on the floor. Left arm forward, lift it up. And then from here, from the back of your right leg, so right where the glute meets hamstring, actually just take your left hand and touch right where your glute meets your hamstring. And then from there, lift that straight up toward the ceiling. And then just continuing to lift that leg up as high as you can from where your fingers are touching. Right, this right hip wants to roll open. Keep the right hip down and just lift from the leg. Take 1 more breath in. And then exhale, right knee down, left hand down. Extend your left leg back, big toe on the floor. Right arm forward, thumb up. And then take your right hand to where your glute meets your hamstring, right? And then from right in that spot, lift that spot straight up. Use that to lift the leg. Right? But when the hip rolls open, it tends to kind of come from the front and side of the hip. We want it to come directly from the back of the hip, the hamstring. Hamstrings are connected to the hip, right? They cross the hip joint, so they are a hip muscle in my opinion. Just keep lifting the left leg. For purposes of hip opening, for hip strengthening, hip mobility, hamstrings are part of the hip. Take one more breath in, lift the left leg. And then exhale, hand down, knee down. Take a look at your hands. Turn your pointer fingers, right pointer finger at 2 o'clock, left pointer finger at 10 o'clock. Press into your hands, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Very familiar pose. All right. Video 5, now you've done downward facing dog enough, you should feel comfortable here. Inhale your right leg up. And then on your exhale, step the right foot forward, bring your left knee down. Take your hands to the right knee, press the hips back over this left leg. Back toes can be tucked or untucked, so we're coming into Anjaneyasana. Press the left foot down, pull it forward. So you feel the front of your hip, right? The quads, one of your quads is a hip flexor, so the quads cross the hip. So we want to make sure we get into the quads as well as the hip flexor. So press into your left foot, pull it forward. Right foot presses down and pulls back. So by pulling back, we're getting the back of our hip. By pulling forward with the left leg, we're getting the front of our hip. And then reach the arms forward, reach the arms up. Again, I'm not so concerned about the shoulders today. We'll do that in the next class, but today we're working on the hips. What are we supposed to do with hips? Hip points lift up to get a better stretch, right? We're not here with the pelvis tilting forward. We're lifting the hip points up. Bring your hands together in prayer. A key component to get into the outer part of your hip is we added some twisting. We introduced it in previous videos. Bring your hands together in prayer. Just lean forward. Lift your chest up just a little bit like you're coming into a little bit of a back bend. And then twist to the right. Don't connect your left elbow just yet, right? So a lot of times when we twist, we tend to round the spine. For your low back, it's best keep the spine long as we twist, right? A vulnerable position for the spine is when we forward fold or we round it and we twist at the same time. So like a little bit of a back bend, lift the chest up, find your twist, and then left elbow just rests on the top outside of your right knee. And then press into your elbow, reach your chest a little more up, and then draw your belly in and twist. So you should feel your outer right hip. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. Pull the feet towards each other. Continuing to strengthen the back of your right leg. Strengthen the front of your left hip. And then come back to center, reach the arms up. On your exhale, Ardha Hanuman half splits. So what you want to do is take your hands to the floor. Take your right leg forward. If you need to bend your knee even more to get your fingertips to the floor, bend your knee a lot. Right? Bending the knee is not going to limit whether we can stretch the hamstring or the back of the hip. But once you get your fingertips down, no matter how bent your knee is, press into your right heel. Pull your heel back. So now we're getting in strength and stretch into the back of the right leg. Reach your chest forward. And then from here, just engage your right quad, so the front of your right thigh to straighten out your leg. Don't let the back round. Let's play with this just for a second so we understand. Right? So what I want you to do is just kind of round your back. Notice in the back of your right leg, sensation leaves the back leg. Now lengthen the chest forward. Feel that sensation come back into the leg. And then round your back. Feel that the sensation leaves your back of your right leg, back hip, and then reach your chest forward, stay here. Keep pressing the right heel down and pull back. Whenever we stretch the hamstring in the back of the hip, right, that tends to be a pretty weak area for a lot of people who do yoga, and people in general. So we want to make sure we have a little bit of tone, a little bit of strength in the stretch. Take a breath. And then rebend your right knee. Take your left hand underneath your left shoulder. And then look at it. Shift it forward about a hand's distance forward. Left elbow crease wraps forward. Lean the hips forward and down, and then bend your back knee. Lift your back foot off the floor, and then if you can reach it, reach back for your right foot. Catch it either from the inside if you can, or from the outside if you can. If you're struggling to grab this foot, right, this is where we have the block, right? A block, a water bottle, a stack of books, something to get the hand on, right? That just brings your hand closer to this back foot. And then once you grab it, work the hips forward and down. But as you come into this, pull in with the right foot, kick back. Or pull in with the right hand, kick back with the left foot. Hips forward and down, chest forward and up. And then pull your right foot towards your left knee. Engage your left glute, get a little bit more across the front of your hip, front of your thigh. Take one more breath in. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back, plank. Inhale and plank, press into your hands. Bring your knees down, lower all the way to the floor, come into Sphinx pose. Elbows underneath shoulders. Press into your hands, grip with your fingers as you pull your elbows back. So the hands are holding on so they don't go anywhere as you draw the elbows back. In Sphinx, notice the weight in the front of your hips. Without increasing that pressure in either one of those hip points, lift your right leg up. So it comes from the back, just like we did in all fours. Lift from where the glute meets the hamstring. Lift the right leg up a little bit higher, and then right foot down. Bring the awareness again back to the front of your hips, so the hip points against your mat. Without increasing the pressure in either one of those, lift your left leg. All right, strengthening the hamstring, strengthening the back of the hip. And then the left leg in. We'll do it one more time each side. Without increasing the pressure, from the back of your leg, lift your leg. Now bend your knee, flex your foot. And then lift your knee up like you're trying to put your foot on the ceiling. And then release the right leg down. Again, without increasing the pressure in the front of your hips, lift your left leg. Bend your left knee, flex the foot, and then reach your left foot up toward the ceiling. Deep breath in, and then slowly release. Arms reach back, palms face down for Locust. Another great tool to strengthen the back of your hip. Inhale, lift the legs, lift the chest, reach the fingertips back. For today, keep the feet hip-width distance. When the feet are hip-width distance, we get more glute, hamstring strength. Reach back, breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. From the back of your left leg, inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Again, if you need to bring two knees down like this, and then step your left foot forward. Hands come to your left knee. Press your torso back, hips over the right knee. Right thigh is vertical, straight up and down. Press into your right foot, pull it forward. Feel the front of your hip and quad engage. Left foot down, pull back, back of the hip, hamstring engaging. Lower ribs in, hip points up. Arms forward, arms up. Deep breath in, keep pulling the feet towards each other. Deep breath out. Breath in, breath out. Bring your hands together in prayer position. And keep the legs pulling towards each other. Just lean forward, find length from the crown of your head to your tailbone. And a little bit of a tilt up of the chest. And then twist to the left. Hover the elbow to start. When we just come here, right, we just kind of round. So we want to find the twist first. Belly in, chest up. And then now just rest the elbow on the top outside of the knee. Press the knee into the elbow, elbow into the knee. Chest forward, chest up, slight back bend. Find your twist. All right, but we want that knee pressing out into the elbow, so we turn on this outer hip as it stretches. Draw the feet towards each other. Deep breath in, deep breath out. One more breath in, one more breath out. Inhale, come back to center, reach the arms up, pull the feet towards each other. Exhale, Ardha Hanuman half split. So reach your left foot forward, come up onto the heel, and bend your left knee enough that you can get your fingertips to the floor. And then press your left heel into the floor, pull it back. So the back of the hamstring, back of the hip, strengthening and stretching. You're not going to get any less flexible because you get strong. I would argue you're actually going to get more flexible because you are adding strength in that flexibility. Chest forward and up. So you find that length, and then engage your left quad to straighten your leg out only to the point that you can keep your spine long. And because we did on the other side, just to experience of why I'm asking you to reach the chest forward, start to round your back. Feel the sensation, leave the back of your left leg. And then reach your chest forward, feel it come back. Round the back, feel the sensation, leave. Chest forward, feel it come back. One more time. Round the back, feel the back of your leg, the sensation, the stretch leaves. Chest forward, feel it come back into that left leg. Press into your left heel. Engage your left quad. Deep breath in. And then rebend your left knee on your exhale. I should have mentioned this on the other side, but it's going to be easier if you heel toe your left foot out a little bit. And then right hand underneath the right shoulder. All right, so think ball of the foot off the floor, heel on the floor. Or on the mat. Right? Right hand forward, not right underneath the shoulder, about a hand's distance in front. Elbow crease wraps forward. Hips forward and down, and then bend your back knee. Reach back for the foot, right? If you have to grab the inside, grab the inside. Or walk the hands around the toes, grab the outside. If you need a little bit of assistance, come up onto a block, reach back for the foot. If you still can't grab the foot, be here. This is gonna suck, right? This is not fun. All in the hamstring, you're reaching back, right? But it's good stuff, right? The hips forward and down, chest forward and up. That's the key to get in the front of your right thigh. And then with your left hand, pull on your right foot. At the same time, kick your foot back. Engage the right glute, so your right butt cheek. Pull the left heel towards your right knee. Chest forward and up. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Breath in. And then slowly release. Step back to plank. Inhale and plank. Exhale to the floor. Locust. Arms reach back, palms face down. Inhale, lift into locust. Spread your toes. Reach through your arms. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's get moving here a little bit on the breath. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees. Step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, find a halfway lift, come up halfway, reach the chest forward. Bend your knees to forward fold and then lift your hips. That way we get into the entire hamstring. Inhale, come all the way up, reach up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Just moving and breathing, adding in some lunge salutations just to set a rhythm. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, right foot back, knee down. Inhale, arms forward, arms up. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back, plank. Inhale and plank. Exhale to the floor, locust. Inhale, lift into locust. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up and back. Exhale, step it forward, however you can get it there, bring your left knee down. Inhale, arms up, feet pull towards each other. Exhale, hands down, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up, reach up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Left foot back this time. Stay with the rhythm of breath. Inhale, arms forward, arms up. Exhale, hands down, step back, plank. Inhale and plank. Exhale, knees down, lower all the way down, locust. Inhale, lift into locust. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up and back. Exhale, step it forward, right knee down. Inhale, arms up, hip points up. Exhale, hands down, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up, reach up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Malasana. So you'll take your feet a little bit wider than your hips, maybe mat width distance. Heels in, toes out, bring your butt low. Elbows pressed into knees, knees squeeze into elbows, chest up. If you need to, you got a block, stack of books, maybe you're here, right? But you're pressing elbows into knees, knees into elbows. If you're feeling pinching to the inside of your hips, adjust the width of your feet and also play around with the angle of the feet. But whenever we're dealing with the hips and we're coming into kind of a folded position, we don't want any sort of pinching to the front of the hip. Elbows into knees, chest up, breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, downward facing dog. Step back. Inhale your right leg up. Exhale, step it forward, come into runner's lunge. So fingertips frame the right foot. If you have two yoga blocks, you can always be here, right? Or two water bottles. Press into your right foot, pull it back. Left foot, pull it forward, and then hips forward and down, chest forward and up. That's the key to get a little bit more across the front of your hip. Now engage your left quad and your left glute. So this back leg, quad, and glute squeezing tight. Building strength and flexibility. Breath in. Breath out. And then take your left hand underneath your shoulder. And then look at the top of your fingertips. Take the heel of your hand, so the back part of your hand, right in line with where your fingertips were. Elbow crease wraps towards your thumb, right arm up toward the ceiling. So come into a twist. This right outer hip wants to lean out to the right. Pull it in and back. Deep breath in. Pull your feet towards each other. If you need to bring that back knee down, bring the back knee down. Deep breath in. And then exhale, hands to the mat, step back, plank. Inhale to plank. Exhale to the floor, locust. Inhale, lift into locust. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Low runner's lunge. Again, fingertips to blocks or water bottles if you need them. But press into this left foot, pull it back. Feel the back of your hamstring. Engage your right glute, right quad. So this back leg fired up. Drop the hips forward and down, but keep the leg active, chest forward and up. Breath in, breath out. One more inhale. And then plant your right hand down underneath your shoulder, or take it forward. If you have a block and you need to be up on the block, right? Bring the floor. The block brings the floor to where you need it, or the water bottle, or whatever you have as your imaginary block. Left arm up. Right elbow crease wraps towards your thumb, so the inner arm rotates forward. Pull your feet towards each other. So this left hip, again, wants to lean out. Pull it back and in. Lift your right leg a little bit higher. Take a breath. Exhale, hands down, step back, plank. Inhale and plank. Exhale, knees down, lower all the way down, locust. Inhale, locust, strengthen the back of your hip. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up and back. Exhale, right foot forward, crescent lunge. Bend the back knee, hip points up a little bit, and then engage your left glute, lift your left hamstring. Take your hands to heart center today. Again, not worried about the shoulders as much today. Lean forward, find length from the crown of your head to the back heel. Chest forward and up, and then twist to the right. Draw your belly in and then think your belly button is rotating to the right, but it's just your ribs that are going to move. And then slowly, left elbow connects to the outside of the right knee. Just like we did earlier. If you need to bring your left knee down, bring your left knee down. But chest forward and up. Take your right knee, press it out into your elbow. Press your elbow back into the knee, chest forward and up, and then maybe twist a little bit deeper. You can stay here or open your arms. Right, whatever you want to work. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Take one more breath in. And then on your exhale, bring your hands to the floor. Spin your left heel down. Left toes facing the left side of your mat. Right knee over the right ankle. Come into Warrior 2. Virabhadrasana 2. Right, so Virabhadrasana 2, getting into the inner hips, inner thighs. Pull them towards each other. Reach the arms wide. Gaze over your right middle finger. And then side angle, right hand to the forearm, or forearm to the inner thigh. Right, so the forearm to the inner thigh, right, you're going to feel as you press them into each other. So the right leg pressing into the right arm back into the leg. You're going to feel your inner hip. Now press into your right foot and hug the heel, the right foot, back towards the left. Now you feel back of the hip, outside of the hip, as well as the front of the hip. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Straighten out your right leg. Turn all 10 toes to the left. So heels in line with each other. Either feet parallel to each other, or I actually like a little bit of the toes in, heels out. Hands to your hips. Come into a forward fold. Prasarita Padottanasana. If you have a block, right hands can be here. Bring the fingertips to the floor, maybe to your shins, maybe to your ankles. But I like to bend my knees, connect my ribs to my thighs, keep that, and just lift my hips up until I can't keep my ribs on my thighs anymore. And then I know that's my stopping point. Right, so the legs don't have to be straight. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale, halfway lift. Turn your heels in and your toes out. Bend your left knee. So your left knee, left toes,
in the same direction. So you want that knee kind of pointing in the same direction as what is now the back right corner of your mat. Take your left forearm into your left inner thigh. Walk your right hand underneath your nose. Left forearm presses into the leg. So the knee is pressing the knee out, the leg out. But squeeze the leg back into the arm. So you feel inner hip muscles. And then imagine you're stretching your skin towards your knee. So you're just sliding your forearm out a little bit. Chest forward, chest up. Deep breath in. This is called Skandasana. It's a Skandasana variation. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then slowly, staying low, switch sides. So right knee, right foot towards the top left corner of your mat. Right forearm presses into the leg. Leg squeezes back into it. So their muscles are stretching and strengthening. If you feel any discomfort on this back knee, adjust the angle of that back foot. And then the last little bit is just imagine you're stretching your skin towards your big knee. So you're kind of sliding the forearm out, drawing the skin towards the right knee. Take a breath in. Breath out. One more breath in. And then straighten out your right leg. Keep the heels in, toes out. You may want to walk the feet a little bit closer to each other. Bend your knees. Take your both forearms into your inner thighs. Hands come to your inner shins and just press the knees out. Squeeze the legs in. Reach your chest forward. If you want more, drop your butt, but don't drop your chest. Keep your chest forward. Deep breath in. Breath out. One more inhale. And then quarter turn to the front, step back to plank. Inhale in plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up and back. Exhale, step it forward, come into crescent lunge. Bend the back knee, hip points up just like in Anjaneyasana, and then lift the back hamstring toward the ceiling. Bring your hands together in prayer. Pull the feet towards each other so that you feel back of the left leg, front of the right hip. Lean forward, breath in, twist to the left, but keep the spine long, right? We don't want to round and potentially compromise our low back. Chest forward and up. And then as you twist a little bit deeper, pull this left hip back. Connect the right elbow to the top outside of your left knee. So there's space here between your ribs and your thigh. Press into your right elbow with your left knee, right elbow into left knee. So they're pushing into each other. Chest forward, chest up. That was a tongue twister. Pull the feet towards each other. Chest forward, chest up. Belly button in. Rib cage rotates to the left. Stay here, open the arms. All right, wherever you want to be. If you need to, bring your right knee down. Take one more breath in. And then on your exhale, open up, warrior two. Pull the feet towards each other. Deep breath in, breath out. And then come into side angle. Left hand, left forearm to the inner left thigh, kind of to the top of the thigh. Press the arm and the leg into each other. Right arm up toward the ceiling. Now this left hip wants to lean out. Pull it in and back. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then straighten out your left leg. Turn all 10 toes to the right. And I'm going to turn this way so you can see. Come into Prasarita Padottanasana. Again, hands to your hips. Take a breath in. Come into a forward fold. Won't be here as long on this side because we did both of these equally. So we'll just kind of revisit. Pull the feet towards each other. Tilt the tailbone and the outer hips up at the same time. And then inhale, halfway lift. Heels in, toes out. Bend your right knee. Right forearm into the right inner thigh. Chest forward, chest up. Left hand underneath the nose. Deep breath in. Press the forearm into the leg. Stretch the skin towards your right knee. And then slowly, staying low, switch sides. Again, if you have discomfort in this back knee, adjust the angle of the foot. Left forearm into left inner thigh. Press open. Squeeze in. Chest forward, chest up. Breath in. Breath out. And then straighten out both legs. Maybe shorten the stance a little bit. Bend your knees. Take your forearms to your inner shins. Grab onto the shins with the hands. And then press the elbows into the knees. Squeeze the knees back into the elbows. Chest forward, butt a little bit lower. One more breath in. And then on your exhale, Shift forward or turn forward, plant your hands, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up and back. Exhale, right knee towards your right wrist, set your shin on the floor with your right toes over towards the side. So we'll take pigeon pose. So think right heel, right in line or kind of close to the left hip. And then roll your left hip down, right hip back. If you have a block, I recommend as you first learn how to do this pose, or a water bottle, or even a pillow or a stack of books, set it underneath this back hip, right? And let me turn so you can see what I'm talking about, right? So you're here, right? So that way this is supported and it's not all pressing down onto the knee. And then from here, just walk your hands forward as far as you can take it. Maybe you come all the way down. But what you're looking for, just so I'll come back this way so you can see it. One day, maybe this shin becomes parallel, right? But I just want you to explore, this is traditional half pigeon, right? What we want is the left hip forward and down, right hip back. If you're feeling any discomfort in the knee, just know it's normal. It's not something you want, so back out of it. And then walk your hands back, lean onto your right hip. Come all the way onto your right hip, like you're just kind of hanging out at the park or at the beach. Take your right shin parallel to the top of your mat. So your outer right thigh, shin bone on the floor. Take a look at your left leg. That shin is parallel to the left side. So you have a 90-degree angle here and a 90-degree angle here. Right? So this is a 90-90 version of pigeon. I find more comfortable. I find more efficient of a stretch. Okay? So you're going to keep your right outer hip down and just bring your left forearm and split your right shin. Press your right shin into the floor. And if you need more, straighten your back leg out, tuck the toes, and just roll this hip forward and down, but don't let the right hip lift. Right, so we're protecting our knee. If you felt discomfort in your knee in regular pigeon, on the inside or outside, this is going to help alleviate that because the thigh bone and the shin bone are on the same level and you're not getting weird torque or excess torque on the inside or outside of the knee. All right, and I'll show you, stay right there. Right, if I'm in pigeon, and I'll turn this way so you can see it. Right, shin bone on the floor, thigh bone lifted. If I have tight outer hips or if I'm putting a lot of pressure, it's going to take one part of the shin, so the knee and the shin come together, and one part is going to be here, going up at an angle, and the other one is going to be going back here. So any load is going to add torque to the knee. So by getting them on the same level, I can't get that, right? No matter how hard I try, I can't get that excess force on the inside or outside. And then slowly walk your hands back if you folded. From here, just lean onto your right hip, left leg forward, right leg back. And come into traditional pigeon. So come up onto the top of your left foot, left knee to the left side of your mat, and just lift the hips up, straighten out your back leg. So the hips are working square to each other in this variation, in traditional half pigeon. And just stay here if this is enough. If you're feeling knee discomfort, just hang out right here with your left outer hip on the floor until we get to the second variation. Right, so we're here. Again, one day maybe working shin parallel, but don't try to get the shins parallel while compromising the squareness of the hips in this version. And take your forearms or hands down to your depth. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And then walk your hands back. Drop this outer hip onto the floor. So it's like you're just, again, hanging out at the beach or the park. You're not doing yoga. You're just chilling, having a conversation with somebody, right? And then take your left shin actually parallel. So you got your left thigh parallel to the side of your mat. Left shin parallel to the top of your mat. Your right knee is bent in a 90-degree angle here. So you got your 90-90s. Right forearm splits the left shin. Press the left shin into the floor. Fold the torso over this left leg. You should feel it a little bit more to the outer hip. Right? A nice stretch. If you need more, straighten your back leg out, tuck the toes. Roll the right hip forward and down. But don't let this left hip lift. If you roll the hip down and this left hip lifts, bring the hip back down. Right, the other reason I like this version, this is how I default. I take this 90-90 position in my pigeon poses. Reason for it is protects the knee, but also it shifts the stretch to the outer hip. When we were in that other version, you probably felt it a little bit more in your butt. And then walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Lean onto your left hip. Swing your right leg forward. Come all the way down onto your back. And we'll take one set of bridge. So set your feet about hip width distance. Take a breath in. Exhale, press into your feet, lift your hips. Pull your heels towards your shoulders. Get the back of your hips engaged. Lift the hips up to stretch the front of your hips. So the back is working to stretch the front. Deep breath in. And then slowly come all the way down. Soles of your feet together, knees wide, Supta Baddha Konasana. So we're stretching the inside of our hip here. Just take your hands to your ribs. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more breath in. Set your feet down for bridge. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. So we'll take Recline Pigeon. This is another option if you have knee pain in Pigeon. Draw your left knee into your chest. Flex this right foot. Don't just kind of let the foot be relaxed. Flex it. And then left hand pulls the left knee in. Right arm threads through. Interlace the fingers behind your left leg. And then pull your knee in. So your left knee's drawing in towards your face. But with your right knee, press it away from your face. Maybe you sway just a little bit side to side to get into a different spot. Again, I mentioned the hips are circular. So by just moving a little bit, you may get into a different area that may need a little bit more. And then come back to center. Set the foot down, switch sides. Left ankle crosses over the right knee. Flex your left foot. Draw your right knee in towards your chest. Left arm threads through. Interlace the fingers around the back of your right thigh. Release your head to the floor. And then pull the right leg in, but with your outer left hip, press your left knee forward. Deep breath in. So the left knee is pressing away from your face. Your hands are pulling your right knee towards your face. Deep breath out. Maybe again you sway a little bit side to side. And then slowly release. Extend your legs long. Extend your arms long. Take a breath in. Shavasana. And let it go. Allow your breath to return to its natural state. Allow your body to be heavy. And feel the energy in your hips. I encourage you to stay as long as you can. If you need to get up, slowly start to roll towards your right side. And with as little effort as possible, please make your way to a comfortable seat towards the front, eyes closed. Bring your hands together in prayer position on heart center. Slide your thumbs towards your forehead, towards your third eye. Take a final deep breath in. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you got into the hips a little bit and your hips feel better. But the key is with the hips, we always want to add in a little bit of tone, a little bit of strength to help maintain integrity and stability in the joint. So we don't want to just become flexible or mobile just to be mobile or flexible. We want to be strong in the flexibility. Class 6, part 6 of the series will be launching tomorrow. It's going to be focused on the shoulders, right? So we'll get into the shoulders a little bit and how to move the shoulders and how the shoulders should be and all that good stuff, okay? Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Looking forward to joining you in part 6. Namaste.